Hi, welcome back to the channel. Has the time finally come for me to unbuild Eddie Van Halen's Chevy Nova? I really love this car, but I think the time has come because this week you can pick this car up from Simeons, and it's a removed vehicle, of course, so you can't get it any other time. Also, I've had, well, more than one request actually to do builds on this car. By the way, if you corner too fast, it will go up onto two wheels, which is quite fun. And is it quite unique among the muscle car class? It might be. Anyway, we're going to build a lot of them today. I've got effectively two builds, one stock and one most definitely not stock. But the stock one, I'm going to vary round a bit. I'm going to show you some different things you could do with this car. So the Vamos, I forgot to introduce it, I think, at the start, is based on the Chevy Nova from around 1970. It was made a few years either side of that. And the first car I'd like to build on here is a Chevy Nova SS, as shown in the pictures, in Le Mans blue. We'll then stick with the Le Mans colour, but just make one or two changes to it as we go. On the way down, the first choice is the front bumper, and that simply needs to remain stock. Everything you see in black here will colour chrome. On the rear bumpers, it's the same because we don't want to paint half of it or have a wheelie bar. They have about the right angle, they're just poking out slightly. Chrome tip exhaust. On the grille, let's pause and put the chrome on the car so we can see what we're actually doing. Secondary chrome, okay. There's a few different grills. The stock one here has lots of little slats, and then the slats over the indicators here are further apart. Well, there's also these lights here that I'm not sure I've been able to find on the real car. Open is quite similar. Billet here, although these pieces are a little too close together, they pretty much match the ones on the side, and the car we're building, this Nova SS, does have a fairly sort of homogeneous, if you like, grille across the front. So I'm going to go with the billet grille, but I'd understand if you want one of the first two. Hood is a little disappointing because all I really want is two vents in the hood. And I can't have them. I have to go stock, or we start pumping up the volume with various things. If you look up blown Chevy Nova, you will find ones. In fact, there's a Le Mans blue, which is the colour we're going to build. One I've already seen on Google with a blower stuck out. So I don't really like them, but it's a viable build. So we're going stock hood. Lights. It looks like I've got car meat on, which is great, but I think perhaps the stock yellowy light's probably the best, really. Livery, we'll look at another livery later. All I want to mention here is that the white and black double stripes were used on some Chevy Nova SS's, certainly not all, so I'm going to imagine they were an option. These stripes are the dead ringer back to about here. However, they did not continue over the roof and down the back. So if you're wanting to build an SS and you're a real stickler, I would do what we're going to do now and build one without the stripes. On to the respray then. Bye-bye, lovely orange. But hello, lovely blue. This is Le Mans blue from the really great website, gtacolors.com, that I've mentioned so much. So the hex is on the screen for that now. What I haven't been able to pre-prepare is a pearl. I think I almost see a bit of green to Le Mans blue, so my first thought is just to push it up somewhere into the gasoline green type area, just see what it looks like, or even sea green. We'll look in the daylight later, but let's put sea green on for now. There was no suggested pearl on gtacolors.com. Secondary was chrome, as mentioned. No roll cage. For the roof, you can have vinyl or not, and we are not having one. We're not having a spoiler on the car. The selection tend to be tasteful or drag spoilers. Suspension. Stock is the right height. If you look at where the front wheels are, the only issue is really, see, they've cut the back arch a little bit low on this car. So inevitably it looks too low still at the back. On to the wheels. Well, I will admit that one of the reasons I picked the specific car that I saw was I recognised that we could add these Cracker custom wheels to it. These are obviously an aftermarket wheel, but this is what we're going to do for our first build. And we're going to paint them, I'm thinking something like stone silver. Stone silver, or let's have the contrast with black steel. And no smoke. So this is the first build. Okay, here it is. I think it looks pretty good. The sun is going down, so we've got a bit of an orangey look anyway to the light. I don't know if sea green is a little bit green, whether we should just consider a more neutral pearl, you know, a sort of dark steel, that sort of pearl. But yeah, this looks rather good. So this is a nice, clean, standard Chevy Nova SS, and you can get really very close. Let's look now at a couple of variations that we can make to the car. Now, obviously, you could add the stripes. We've talked about the potential issues there. I'm not going to. Another easy option are the wheels. Now, if we just go into the stock rims, these stock rims are basically what I've seen a lot of the cars on Google have. Loads of them seem to have this style of wheel. So I believe this probably was the stock wheel for the car, but it wasn't in a horrible grey colour like this. So I think you would need to basically go into chrome, put on the old school in chrome. And that there would give you a really lovely stock clean look. You can paint the car, of course, any colour you like, and it really is job done. I have also seen the car, but I think it might be aftermarket with the Muscle Freak wheels. I've seen it with this style of wheel. This such a common wheel, of course, for any sort of muscle car from the era. And I've seen it then with the white tyre design as well. So that's another good option for you. But I'm going to look at something slightly different now. For the second car, please ignore the wheels. That's a continuity error because I've been fiddling. I wanted to build the Yenko 427. Don Yenko, I've talked about him and the Copo cars before when we did a Camaro, but effectively bought cars in that weren't made by Chevy and altered them the way he thought his customers would want, and he made the 427. Now, I really wanted to build the 427. It was apparently a pretty lethal car, tons of power. It had stripes like this on, but they were white, and every version I saw, not black. I think these black ones might come from something called the Rally Nova, which I wasn't intending to build. So I can't build the 427. But then nor could Don, because after a while, he decided they were a bit lethal, and it maybe needed a smaller engine. So he put a 350 in instead of the 427. And this was called the Nova Yenko Juice. And we're very lucky because we do have this logo here, the white side stripes. And that is pretty much the livery we need. The only thing that's wrong is that they should be much thinner stripes on the hood here. But all this, right, this is really good. So let's build the one in the picture. So we'll put the white side stripes on, and I don't think anything else is going to change apart from let's have a go at that colour. I think dark blue is going to work very well. We just need to find a pearl to give it a bit of pizzazz. I think maybe just a standard blue pearl, so metallic blue with a blue pearl. For the wheels, we're going to muscle class chrome again, and I reckon these fairly work the best. Not quite the right slot shape, but they come in, they go back out again. There's black in the middle. They look pretty good. That completes the build, so I think that we need to go to Donkey Punch Farm. I really love this. I love this more than the first one I built. It's interesting to have such a bold livery, especially at the rear, but for it to be genuine, for it to be rare. Nova Yenko Juice. I think this is really good. I do sometimes wonder about the grille at the front with the lighter pieces as mentioned. You know, this could be my final build for this car. We've still got one more to go. At the end, I'll let you know which build I'm going to put it back to, how I'm going to store the car. But for now, let's get back in the workshop. Okay, those of you who want a clean period Nova for your garage, you've had a couple with a few options. Turn off now, because the next one isn't that. The next one is by KAM, K-A-M, in Queensland, Australia. And they made a monster. 1,500 horsepower, lowered black, custom Chevy Nova. It's pretty famous, been in lots of articles. I'll link below, by the way, the articles for every car that I built today, including the one we're going to build. So let's get on and make this car mean. On the front bumper, I'm specifically looking at the side profile, comparing it with a car. And this custom chin spoiler comes the closest. It doesn't have the holes punched in it, but that is the one that we want. On the rear, just this stock bumper is fine. With the exhaust, they're hidden away on the KAM car, so nothing I can really do. But this is the moment I noticed I forgot to look at the stock exhaust last time. This stock exhaust is perfect for those older builds, and I'll be adding a bit of text in on the video that you will already have seen. But anyway, let's put the stock one as just been the least obvious. Again, we want to leave the trim deleted. Again, it's going to come down to you on the grill. Do you want to match these to these, which I've done, or do you want to go with the more accurate and smaller slats? I'm just going to stay on the billet grill. For the hood on the KAM car, we want the catches and the very big cowl, the really big cowl. I like the way that this logo, this livery wraps itself around on there. That looks really good. So we'll take the tall cowl induction hood. No livery, of course. We're going to have to make the plate go black for this build. On the respray, from what I've read, the car can look quite silvery in some lights. There's definitely a strong pearl to it. So we're going to go metallic black for the primary. I don't know how much pearl to give it. I've never seen the hugest reflections in the photos I've looked at, so I don't think knocking in something like, you know, a frost white here or something, I think that's going to be too much. I certainly don't want to go more than, I think even silver's maybe going to look too much in the sunshine. Let's just go with dark steel. Secondary is, of course, again going to be the metallic black to start to give us this mean look. There's no roll cage in there. I mean, it's only got 1,500 odd horsepower. Who needs a roll cage? Stock roof, no spoiler. Suspension obviously as low as we can get it. Sorry, slight continuity error because the wheels are now on the car, but they are from the track category High 5 painted in black. And I think they work very well. The spokes aren't quite parallel, but the only other wheel that's got parallel spokes is Expressway, I think it is, but it has a diamond turned lip and 6 sets. So I think this one works really well. There is no tint on the glass. That's a pity, really, because we can see the interior isn't the dark red of the car we're trying to build. That completes it, and I think it's time to go to Donkey Punch Farm again. So here we are, the KAM Chevy Nova, looking suitably murdered out and threatening. And if you're a fan of this sort of build, I think you'll really like this one. I think we've got just about enough pearl. I do wonder if you could maybe put a silver one on to replicate what they've done. So to close, what do I actually think? What cars out of what we built are we going to keep? I told you it would go on 2 wheels. I've been hoping it would do that. So I'm going to keep the Yenko Juice. I think that looks fantastic. And I've actually already bought a second one of these cars. And that is going to be made up back, in fact, as Eddie Van Halen's one. I've always liked that build a lot. So for me, they are the 2 cars that carry it. But I'd love to know below what you think. Out of either what you've seen you would build, or even what else you've built or will build on this car. For example, the stripes are there for the Rally Nova. Are you going to build that? Let me know. Video's gone on a little while because of the multiple builds, but I hope you've enjoyed it. And what should we have as a code word to prove you actually got to the end? How about falling over? Because that's what this car does if it goes around a corner too fast. A like if you liked it. Obviously sub if you possibly feel this channel will be of use to you. And above all, thank you so much for watching.